Coming from, because you know what, I have no idea, and I am saying for myself, and I've been in therapy for the longest time. I mean, I was in therapy for a very long time to try to understand and figure myself out, but even to this day, I'm still, and to for a person who has and as a teacher, I've seen so many cases of children and coming with all these backgrounds. And yes, and again, those children that have a solid foundations of interactions that are healthier, they get displayed in the classroom more clearly. Like, hey, this kid, it has some foundation and some positive energy within their environment. But then you have kids that are like, help me figure it out, this Lord, because I have no idea. Give me patience.
That's me. But I would like to address something to the listening audience, that times have changed, and because of the pandemic, you have individuals that are rushing home to put goggles over their eyes to go to a mega universe. What is a mega universe? It is an imaginary world that is generated by technology. Okay, and this number is increasing. To get away from the hell and the torture of this world, people are rushing home to go to a mega universe. There was a article where there was a man that purchased a home for $1 million in a mega universe that does not exist, just so he can live next to Snoop Doggy Dogg. This is going to be more pervasive in this society, and there are going to be more men. Not all men are going to see this behind me. A lot of men are going to go for that, but go ahead, sister.
Well, here there's a comment that says, I feel that these humanoid robots could have a good benefit in the prison system where homosexuality is weaponized for dominance. Oh my God, it's true. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's one thing, that's one that would be a good way to resolve solutions. I mean, there would be a solution to this problem, and based on that comment, I'll tell you, there was a true story in South America when they were in, I don't remember what war, but it was documented that this is what really actually happened. The general, of course, they were all men fighting, right? Mm-hmm. And so that he realized that his soldiers were not pretty much, motivated and optimized to the best ability. And so he asked them, well, what do you think we need to do? Because this is not, there's something, and this is true story in South America. Yeah. So what did the guy do? He went and brought women, prostitutes, to fulfill. And then it's like they actually won. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God. And then based on that comment, it would solve, and it also would, work with, I agree with, and also I would say it would definitely decrease the amount of sexual abuse on children and on other people. That, yeah. I would agree with you that I would prefer that if a man, like in this regions where men are still, or even here in the U.S., maybe still happening here in the U.S., right, where they're very where men are not as like going out on dates and
yeah,
and meeting women. Okay, maybe that's the case, but then it would also, I would say that might decrease the abuse on children as well. So that was a comment right here. So yep. So yes, what do you think?
I was gonna say I would agree, but I'm gonna see if Lonnie's sound is together in a minute. But my question is to you and to the listening audience, when we talk about androids or robots looking like women.
Yes.
I got a video I want to play, and go ahead. This is not what they're going to look like in the future, okay?
No need to get your chopsticks all hot and bothered. Prepare to be amazed by the incredible world of Japan's cutting-edge functioning female robots, designed purely for your entertainment. With their flawless artificial intelligence, these robots offer a whole new level of fun and excitement.
Yes, and they actually, I think in the tourists or one of the departments of Japan, they actually included a robot, and it even has a passport. And I'm thinking, wow, interesting.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to play that way yet. This is, but you know what? I got to get rid of it. I meant to play that later on.
Okay, you can hold
The
it.
Pride of
What's the time?
Pause it.
Frankenstein.
On me to what? It's the big city.
Friend, friend,
So, Dahlia, this is where we come. This is where we've come to. Do you think the man has went too far? You know, when they showed us Frankenstein, which was a great movie, you know what? Dr. Frankenstein created a wife for him, a girlfriend for him, and she was repulsed. Do you think that man has went too far trying to play God?
Oh, I think humans will always continue to innovate no
Uh-huh.
matter what the situation is. I think humans, it's within us to try to improve things.
Hmm.
I think, and to create and to form. And if and I tell my students, many times where you need to be as a creator, not just a consumer. And I think, obviously, from Frankenstein is from a long time ago, right?
Hmm.
From
Hmm.
what year was the Frankenstein? I don't remember, but long time ago.
Yes.
So from there to now in Japan, where you can actually buy these humanoids for 30 to 50, and I don't know with Mr. Musk if he's saying 25,000. I think yes, definitely we will be. I mean, I would love to have somebody who replaces and does some of the things for people who come in and help me out to get my projects done. But at the same time, I don't think it will completely replace completely. I doubt it, but that yes, just like the phones possibly will become accustomed to having these, just like, like we have vacuums, phones, uh the light and things like that. But uh to replace a real human being, maybe like I said, the men who are isolated, and I would question, and I would love to have uh more being invested in the development of men healing as they're growing up. And I realized that the newer generation of males, they're not afraid to go seek therapy or to ask for help, versus like my father's, forget it. My father and my grandfather parents, my parents, it was a like total no. It's like
Hmm.
that's not. But in my generation, it's like it's okay to ask for help. However, the males, my males in my generation, I think they're not necessarily as open to seeking out help, to kind of like, hey, why am I? So maybe those males who might be at this point still like, yeah, they need to have their fulfillment and needs and everything. And an obedient woman, but it's not a obedient woman, but it's a humanoid. But will it ever replace completely? I seriously doubt it anytime
This,
soon. I don't.
this brings us to other point in the interview. Okay, I've done the research that they're making. You ever see people out there looking? You've seen iRobot and you've seen Terminator.
Yes, of
They're
course.
developing a artificial artificial substance that feels like skin. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, the woman robot and the man robot. So if that robot bumps against something and burns itself, like in Terminator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, it will regenerate itself.
What is it? What the fuck is going on?
I had never come across that, but in humans, of course, we don't tell when we cut ourselves and we have a wound, we don't tell our body, hey, fix it yourself. It does it automatically, right? So if a humanoid does that, I would be like, okay, that is something that was programmed by humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for it to get to that point that Mr. Musk is claiming of consciousness, first we have humans, real physical humans of flesh, of bones and flesh that are not even there. So how can we get a robot there? So it's like not sure about that. But as far as if that technology exists, that's one thing. But as far as emotions and feelings, and in that movie, wife like, uh,
Yes.
yeah, wife like, it actually alludes to that. And there was another movie, I forgot where, or maybe it was episodes about a story of uh, where a scientist brings in another scientist to test a robot, a humanoid, and then the human.
Xena, I think. Yes.
Which one is it?
Xena, and I may be saying the name wrong.
Okay, see
Man
now.
falls in love with the robot.
No, in this case, I don't know if it was seen it. I forgot the title. I'm like, I saw the clips, and at the end, the 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 scientist gets killed by the guy who was hired, and then the humanoid escapes.
Mhm.
So
Let me ask you something. For men that and women that are totally just detached, they're loners. Okay, do you think it's
mm,
possible for them to actually fall in love with a robot or humanoid?
I would ask myself, what happened in their lives?
No. Do you think it's possible?
No, first I would question.
For men that are detached, have mental problems and have problems with women to actually fall in love with a robot or humanoid.
It wouldn't be love like the one that as far as I understand it. I think it would be more coping mechanism, because that's what I realize a lot of humans do when they have not dealt with their psychological traumas as children, as youth, as adults. Instead, they go into coping mechanisms: alcohol, drugs, gaming, obsessive compulsive on cleanliness for women, or different, or sports or things like that. So I
Are
think
you, are you in essence saying if it is love, it's a sick love? Is that what you're saying?
it would be coping. Not, I wouldn't say love. It would
Would
be a
would you
coping
would you say
strategy.
would you say it's a sick love?
I wouldn't say sick love. I No, Clifton, I couldn't say a sick love, but I could claim that it would be coping, because again, going back to this, myself included in there, so many years of therapy, and still falling into the traps of letting my emotions make sometimes determine my decisions,
Mhm.
as a person who has gone through so much training as a teacher and so forth and so on. you know I can say that
Mhm.
again, it would be coping, because uh
Mhm.
there must have been something that triggered for that individual to be lonely, to be isolated, to be ostracized, to be deprived, to be lacking these social skills that would allow him to interact with other human beings. And I do see that, you know what, I do see that in some communities more than others, within the US. But it is, that's what I would say, because again, and I don't want to generalize this as well, but I do want to point out that as I see the development of children, and I have talked to
all right, go ahead, sister.
no, it says there are study of people
You know what?
humans.
Some people don't want to talk on the air. But my other question is to you: when you mentioned something, and it's very, very important, dealing with reprocreation. My question is to you, I would like for you to address. They are experimenting. They are experimenting with growing babies outside of the womb. I don't know if you're aware of that. Okay.
Yes, I am.
The experiment is what eventually someone has concocted an idea where the robot would be able to, a humanoid, I'm talking about a artificial womb, because they're working right now to produce artificial wombs, okay, where you can grow a baby, okay, like it's going through all the trimesters that the baby is going through. Do you think that that would be morally wrong for a robot, a humanoid that looks like a woman, to carry a baby?
Okay, so let me go back to something to begin with. Okay, as far as there's already you can clone with your cells, your own self, you know that, and also you can actually create a child with your cells, you know that, right? So there's already technology to do that. And as morally, I can't. I'm not God.
With her, work with the kids. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I am not God to say what's moral or not moral, because I don't know people's situations, and I do know of couple people's situations where it is very, very hard for them to be together because of family stuff. So they've opted to have their children in a different alternative way. Whether it was morally right or wrong, I'm not God, and I will not judge that. But I can say that if the two individuals love each other and they can figure it out a way to solve and still move on in their lives, hey, that let them figure it out some way. But as far as the technology, if it's available and this is a way for them to fulfill life dreams and aspirations as a family, obviously I'm not going to say that that would be wrong. I would say, hey, look, I do not know everyone's personal experience, but I do know of a couple of people who have had their children be born in a different way. And yep. So
excuse me. So you're saying essentially, from your perspective, since they are working to develop babies and grow them outside of the womb, you could not say that is wrong to have a baby inside of a humanoid, a robot, and produce a baby. You cannot say that's wrong. Interesting.
Okay, so the part that I guess you're missing, that I said very clearly, I don't know each person's situation, but the people that I do know of, I wouldn't judge them as bad because of the conditions that they've been put through.
Okay.
So, and then I gotta tell you, when I was in Kenya, because I've traveled all over the world. So when I was in Kenya, I received a commercial, literally a commercial, of where you can actually, and I think it's a true story too, that that has already happened, where the child is born not even in a humanoid, it's in an egg. And yeah, I mean, it was a commercial, but it is also has been done where children are born in that way. So
you got a question in the chat room. Okay, there's a study of people. Oh, wait a minute. There are there are studies of people that are able to grow human skin in laboratories, but again, you will need the organic product in order to clone. You want to address
Yes.
that?
Yes, definitely. In the case of that I mentioned to you, where the children are born, the children are born, it's from the cells, blood cells of the people, of the two of the couple.
Hmm.
So you bring in, and the technologies out there to create children in that manner. So yes, you do need the original organs or the cells from the in humans
Hmm.
of the yeah, so that is the case. And again, I don't know the circumstances of every person, but as I said, the one that I do know, if I were them, I would say, yeah, do it that way, because if you have a couple that loves each other very dearly and very deeply, and you have a group of very powerful people interfering, and they're like, okay, this is the way to actually procreate, hey, I'm not God to judge them. And I am like, great.
Hmm.
I'm happy for you for procreating that way, because I don't think just because they are, it kind of like a Romeo and Juliet.
Okay. Okay.
Romeo and Juliet, and they still, in spite of all that, they still manage to have their family. I mean, I know their story, so it's like it is what it is. Life deals different people different things. But is it wrong, is it right? Look, I'm not in anyone, I'm not God, and I'm not going to be judging anybody.
Yes.
What I do one thing that I do hold very is like always protecting children. It should always be like
Hmm.
everyone's duty to protect children from children are so vulnerable, and they believe anything. So there's a lot of distortions that have happened in humanity, generation after generation after
Hmm.
generation,
Hmm.
that have not been dealt with, that
Hmm.
make humans behave in certain way, including like abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse onto children. And therefore, you have the behavior as adults being reflected in a certain way, or the adults
Hmm.
behaving in certain ways that
Hmm.
would not have been if they had a healthy environment to develop in.
Hmm.
And by that I means not necessarily the mom, the father, like I was mentioning before we went into the video,
Hmm.
in talking with an expert in this sector, the fact that even if you have dysfunctional parents, even if that's the case, if there is in the child's environment
Hmm.
someone who
Hmm.
can demonstrate a healthy nurturing love, that child will develop properly, because they've seen what healthy love is like.
So what do you think?
Well, go
What do
ahead.
you think? What do you think about what we've been saying, brother? When we talk about
You know,
artificial,
I think a lot, and I've been reflecting a lot. First and foremost, you have to look at the ruling elite of this society first and foremost in each and every continent, which is global. Now, you look at it, humans, hard-headed, don't want to work. You got problems with humans. You got this, you got that. You get feedback from humans. AI technology and Android, you don't get that feedback from them. You see what I'm saying? So right now they're trying to automate the workforce. By them automating the workforce, does two things. It eliminates what you have to pay an employee. Robots work for free. They don't cost nothing. You
hmm,
see what I'm saying? You don't have to pay health care. You don't have to do none of that for a robot or AI technology. For
yes,
humans, you do. As we move into the future, you see more and more of these developments of Android technology to replace humans. Don't get it twisted. They are producing them to replace humans. It,
well, you got to comment, and you got to comment to say if you feel these humanoid robots will be good because you don't have to, in the prison system. Well,
Well,
well, their life is weaponized for dominance.
you got you got to look at it like this. Look at the prison system first and foremost. What is the penal system in America? What is the penal system worldwide? Let's deal with America. You're going to have homosexuality in the prisons, no matter what you do, no matter what you do. And one of the reasons, if you do have AI technology where they can go with a female android or whatever, who's going to be in charge of that? It's going to be the warden. It's going to be the prison guards, and then you got certain prisoners that got superiority over others. You see what I'm saying? It's a hierarchy. So all of that, that's good to listen to, but the reality of it is, it's going to be controlled by those in power in the penal system. Some will be able to access it, some won't. So whatever that cycle it is going to continue. The thing is, don't go to prison.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you and Miss Dahlia something. I'll start with Dahlia. I want to ask you, by men and women having relationships with humanoids or robots, do you feel that it dehumanizes and make human beings insensitive, having the ability to go to the mega universe and marrying and falling in love with a robot or android?
Following again, I think I would ask. I would start with the question.
Okay, I'm saying, do you feel that dehumanize the human race by having the ability to marry a robot, to fall in love with a robot, and putting on goggles to go to a mega universe?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the humanizing. Yes, for sure. You know, to me, I don't see it like something necessarily good.
Why?
Because humans have feelings, emotions. They have a history. They have generational. It's just not a thing. A human is not a thing.
There's some echoes in the background. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening to you. Go ahead, sister. I'm listening.
Oh, yes. That I'm saying that humans are not things. Therefore, I do believe it would dehumanize. Like I don't see. I would. My advice would be more. Let's work with humans who would need something like that. And why would they need it? Because we mentioned isolation, deprivation, because of traumas, because of all these other things. Is rather that would be humanizing, like working with another human to help them to understand. Look, why would you need something like this? Because obviously we're in this all together, right?
Somebody, you know, somebody's audio was back. Somebody's audio is feeding back. Yeah. And brother Lonnie, do you feel that this dehumanizes the human race by a man being able to marry a robot, have a relationship with a robot, and have an ability to go to a mega universe to escape the hell of this world?
Well, first of all, people always looking for a way to escape trauma. They always looking for a way to escape dissatisfaction or whatever it's not, whatever else is not going right in their life. You know, so a mega, you know, escaping to a megaverse, you know, it's the same thing as when you smoking marijuana, you taking cocaine, you taking barbiturates, any other type of drug. You're trying to relieve yourself of that certain, you know, feeling that you have or whatever, emotion, bad or good or whatever it is that pushes you to that direction. But it's not a solution. Okay, that's not a solution. Now, as far as you know, you're talking about falling in love with an android and this and that. We got to realize we are living in a society worldwide where you got words are strong and minds are weak. You see what I'm saying? So first and foremost, They will play on your emotions. Oh, your wife ain't treating you good. Your husband is bad. Blah, blah, blah. Here's something that ain't gonna cause you some problems. Life is a problem. Living and working and loving and breathing and taking care of people and yourself every day is a problem. But we do it. We do it out of habit. We do it because we're human beings. We do it because that's the way life is, and that's what we were taught. And that's what the society and the norms and things that we do today are not android. It's flesh and bone. It's not something created. So you're gonna take uh, something and make it artificial. Then they tell you you can love this. This won't cause you no problem. This, and that. And you look at the general. We got a lot of sick people in this world, worldwide. Come on. If you're trying to push this LD whatever agenda worldwide, punish countries because they don't want to accept it, they need loans, which they really don't, because the industrial resources that they have can create commerce and create capital. But this is what you're doing. You're pushing this stuff down the throats of the people and forcing them to accept it and telling them that this is right. You know, any person of religion, you study all three religions, all that, it's not in there. And so to include these artificial ingredients in the already complicated human life, you know, for me, it's crazy. But some people are going to accept it because we live in a society where a lot of people are not here. You know, a lot of people are having problems. Um, this younger generation, you know, Z and et cetera. And, you know, some of us are sick. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at it globally, you know, who's who? And that's what you got to look at. Some people gonna go for it, some people not. Uh, Me and you, we know we ain't gonna do that. That ain't up our alley. But you take somebody with a problem, a social problem, you take somebody with a mental problem, you take somebody with a trust issue or whatever that's been, you know, dog that had problems, a man or a woman. These are the people that will flock to that. And as society keeps pushing, and minds are weak and words are strong, hey man, go do this. Okay, why shouldn't I? No,
Yeah.
use that.
Okay. And going, Miss Dahlia, I would like to ask you. I've seen reports and looked at some statistics that there are less men that are dating women. You know, like we can wait to go on a date. You know what, brother? We got a lot of feedback because you try to come back in and okay, because I hear it. Okay, let me, Dahlia, I'd like to ask you something. Because of humanoids.
Can I respond to
Go ahead.
Brother Lonnie? Okay. I think that it's a coping mechanism, just the same way that I would see a lot of the people coping with alcohol, with drugs, so I think it's a way to replace something that is missing or that has happened or that is not dealt with in the lives of the individual. Because and the comment here, it says it will not dehumanize us. Instead, I feel it will trigger us to embrace and love humanity even more. Society have always been a group of people needing to point their finger at a problem. I do agree with that. As humans, we point the finger and we try to find solutions and coping mechanisms instead of really going inwards. But I think also too, it would be like dealing with the fact that what gets a person to that point of replacing a real human being, again, because they don't have the social, emotional, interactional skills to meet people, to meet women and or men, versus like the ladies not meeting men. But for the most part, women, we're very more emotional and easier, right? But and I can see it more from the men part.
Yeah.
And like we were mentioning, as far as the region, like in Japan, many of the men are more reserved. And so yeah, I would say also, I would see it more as a coping mechanism and fulfilling something that is missing within their lives, or they have not been dealt with in their.
Okay. And in the society, there are, now statistically, this is on, I mean, you can find this on social media. There are less men that are going out with women, and actually they having the woman pay for their food, and they pay for their own food. Do you feel that humanoids and this mega universe is a contributing factor to men going on less dates? Hello?
Okay. Yeah. Yes, for sure. I mean, um, goodness, in the Mexican culture, normally men tend to pay. It's like, hey, that's given. You're gonna have to pay, right? But in the American culture, it's where I find it that, hey, you pay your own meal, I pay my own meal, everybody pays their own little meal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So also, I think it has to do with that, the fact that males in our culture are since we've I think since we've asked equality, that's one thing that they feel like, hey, look, if you want equality, then you're more than welcome to equally pay for your own self, right? Which is, it could be a good thing, it could be the not necessarily the best thing, but it is a thing that I think it actually can. I mean, I don't mind it. For me, if I pay for myself, I don't mind. But if I have to pay for him, then I do mind it. Yes, that is not okay.
You would say it is a contributing factor of it is a good, like I said, I don't know why, because you know what, and I used to couldn't wait to get a date. I couldn't get a date. But when I could get a date, I was like, oh my God, I felt mad. I felt like I arrived. And I don't understand the young man that does not want to date and still living in his mother's basement. I don't get it, because I don't come from that generation. I don't get it. But my would you say that one of the reasons that men, you have women that say, man, I'm not going to be told what to do by man, modern women, and you have women that want partnership, but they don't want the man to be the head, and there's some men saying enough is enough. Do you feel that's a contributing factor?
Oh yeah, well, right now somebody put the comment, is the comment, do you want to read it?
Let me, okay, just 1 second. Uh, go ahead. Go ahead. Wait. Yes. Okay. Okay. You got feedback. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, sister. I'm listening. I'll get to the comment. I'll get to it though. But go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't mind paying for myself, but I do mind paying for the men. I mean, I don't think that's a right thing. That's right. That's right at all. I think that's wrong. And I was mentioning to you that the laws here in America, the way we have them, the alimony could be where the female, is she's the bread taker, she is the one that actually is bringing in the the money to sustain the household. She can actually end up paying alimony to the men. Can you imagine that? I mean,
I mean,
yeah,
that's
we
not
want
generally
equality, but at the
that's
same
not
time,
generally the norm, no. But go ahead.
but it is, but it happens quite a bit because women are they sometimes their salary are, depending on who they marry, it's like, okay, so that could be the case. But what I'm saying, as far as also, here I'm going to read what the gentleman here wrote. It says, as a single black man, I find it difficult to go out on dates due to my morality of things that I will do and not do. But a lot of the women are being flooded with false ideas on what a man is. And it's true. It's true. Women, we're flooded with ideas of what a man should be like, or not be like, or do or not do. And then another comment that it was coming. I see them entertaining themselves with a so-called dating girls gurus on their TikToks and social media, but a lot of good women are going out because they don't want to be associated with them with the bad. And
Mhm.
it's true. Good women normally, I mean, it, like, even like finding out, like, okay, so a good woman, where would she go to find a good guy?
Mhm.
And it's a good question. It's like, I have a friend, and she's like, she's single, and so she's like, oh, uh let's go out, and then we talk about this topic. We've talked about this topic, and it's like, where would she find a good guy? She goes to church, but she's like, I haven't found anybody there. And then what else does she do? She's a caretaker of elderly, so she doesn't have a chance to meet men. um and so, and she's a very, very outspoken person. She's a very vibrant person. In the store, she'll talk to strangers, but it somehow is like, where do good guys and good women can be together to meet each other? That's a good question. I don't know. um and yeah, so, and then, and the answer, I mean, as far as what men are and how they I think, as long as men are respectful, I think most women would be okay. But we have in our society some guys who are completely like, want to depend on women to this
That's
extent.
right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you have a generation of gentlemen that have not even developed the social skills to really understand that that's part of their responsibility.
Right.
And,
Exactly. Social skills. Some of these gentlemen are like, oh, or the kids or the youth that that I come across is like, wait a minute. So you think this because of that? And it's like, help me understand your approach to this. And then it's like, well, that does not necessarily make sense to me, but maybe to some of them it makes sense, and it's like, okay.
mhm.
But yeah, as I said,
Well,
I
I
think
mean, let me
that
ask you something. Would you
difficult to
would
find.
you blame? So first of all, would you blame part of it on the woman? Not under some women want to be partners in relationships, and they do not want men to take the lead. And some men say, "The hell with it! I get an android." So to complicate my life, do you blame some of the women?
Do I blame them? No, I'm not God to blame anybody.
Okay, I mean, is that an aspect that's involved?
I mean, to each his own. I mean, if the guy needs it, if the guy feels that way, that's their choice, and that would be their, you know. But as I said, it's I could see where it could be more. Oh, but then also too, I mean, let's talk about all the stuff that has already been in our society, that where somebody has been profiting from men who are deprived of many things, with the pornography and all the other things that are out there. I mean, somebody's making money. And you're right. I mean, some of the good guys is like, well, where do they end up? I don't know. That's a very good question. We can maybe figure it out this by asking, doing a survey. Where do good guys go, and where do good women go, or how do they do it?
I, I,
Um,
I think part of the problem is that, you know what, I'm speaking from a man's perspective. I understand you're a woman. I think that most women, a lot of women, they choose wrong. They make wrong decisions. They don't even investigate before they get in a relationship and sit back and watch. And they wooed by a man saying, "I love you, I care about you," because some women have not gotten that type of affirmation from their fathers.
oh, that's true.
And I think that's it. I think a lot of women choose wrong. That's my that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think that's where we agree to disagree sometimes, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, I think the role of the males in children's lives You mentioned, right now, the father figure
Mhm.
for a female and the father figure for a male.
Mhm.
So that definitely has an impact, a major impact on how a human develops. So where you have women who have had uh, healthy relationships with their fathers, they can, that's what they're going to look for.
Mhm.
Where if they are unhealthy, like women beaters and aggressive and all of that, it's going to be harder
Yeah.
because that's not what they're accustomed or they are looking for, or have as their template to base what a male should be like, right?
Mhm.
So it would be harder.
Mhm.
So and where women choose, you mentioned this before, that the women are choosing wrong,
Yeah.
but maybe it's because they had the wrong male father or male figure in their lives.
Yeah.
It might be that, I don't know, but I can
No.
only speak for myself and the development of what I see in humans. So
So we winding down, and you know what? I want to ask you one more question. In the age of the Jetsons,
oh,
okay, and iBot and Xena, where men fall in love and men put on goggles and women put on goggles to escape the reality of this world. Do you feel that this world is going to become more disconnected with the more technology that we have, and is technology eventually going to try to take over and say, why am I serving something that's inferior to me?
well, we are already disconnected.
Okay.
And I can say it because of what I see in the youth, in the children. It's like they'll rather have a tablet versus interacting with other
I
children.
know.
Yeah, and that's everyone, and that's all of us. I mean, that's like, how many phones I got. I've got like so many, because, and also part of it because I travel, right? So I travel, so I have different, you know phones for the different countries, and but I would say this is an opportunity to. I don't think technology is that bad either, because I'm a digital media teacher. So I think we can embrace it and use it as a tool, the same way that we use a pen and paper as a tool. So it could be a tool to improve the quality of life, or it could be a tool to destroy the quality of life. I think it's up to the person and how they use it. So it's not necessarily like, oh, a right or wrong here, but
Mhm.
rather individually what it's being used for. And the disconnection is like, well, if I time myself for this time and this time, and I am a fault of it right now, especially with everything that is happening in the Middle East, and which I'm very much connected to what over there. um it really, I am constantly right now on online, because it really, as a human, I cannot conceive how is it okay that they've murdered 17,000 children and still leaders are not doing anything to censor, I mean, to completely put embargo on the weapons. It's like, what world do we live in that they're still sending weapons to the Zionists? What are they defending? 17,000. And if you combine the women and children, it's a total of 70% that have been killed, women and children. So doesn't that tell you already that something is wrong? It should be screaming to the whole humanity, but they're still Biden. 680 million. My God, 680 million. What about right here, the neighborhoods, right here in Chicago, in
We
the
become dehumanized, so I don't even go ahead.
so I would say yes, it detaches people. The question, to answer your question, technology can detach people, and people can become very detached. But it can also be a means to communicate with the whole world. Because with all of this right now, I mean, we can be, anyone on Earth can be logged in right now, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of people, a lot of people can join in as well.
Mm. Do you know what, when you say that about technology, we're so dependent on technology. I mean, hell, I can't even remember a telephone number anymore. Okay, so my question to you is: do you think that artificial intelligence and algorithms and androids will say, damn, they need me. Shit, why am I serving something that's inferior to me? Do you think that's a possibility?
That's a possibility, but not now, not anytime soon.
Oh, yeah.
I agree. I mean, that is a possibility for sure, but I don't see it anytime soon, being the fact that even humans here on Earth are not able to get to that point of connecting with their conscious. So if a human who is born and are in this at this level of you know, as a human, and they're so detached, I find it that, yeah, maybe in the future once they further develop, but I don't see it anytime soon. I mean, I do see, for example, the fact that, hey, phones are everything pretty much. You
Well, I
know,
was talking about the humanoid too, because I think it would get, if at some point it would develop a awareness of self. To say, why am I serving something that is inferior to me?
right, that could happen, but not I don't see it until, like, I would say until all I mean, it's the speed that it's going, and I don't know how many people could afford stuff. Like, for example, yeah, OpenAI, we can all type in the question and it will give us something, but it's because someone has already tried to put this into a program, into an algorithm, so that it gives us something that someone else has already created for so many different, you know.
One more question. One more question. What is your opinion of Elon Musk, who is I think the majority owner of Tesla, and coming out with tiny homes that cost $6,000 and Starlink and Optima? What is your opinion about
homes
Elon
that cost $6,000?
Yeah, they're coming out with it. He's working on perfecting a tiny home that costs $6,000.
Wait, I don't know about that one, but I do know about the humanoid, and I know, of course, Neuralink. I mean, he has so many. So what do I think of the guy? I think I call him Smarty Pants because he's smart, and let's give credit where it's due. And he's a very smart. He's also a very hated man by many, and I can see why. When you bring out and transform a platform such as X into a free speech, you bring a lot of frenemies. And a lot of frenemies means that even people who might be very close to him, that are not necessarily his friends, but not, are intending not necessarily the best interest of the development of his companies, right? So what do I think of him? I think he needs to, he should, you know what I think he should do? He should read my thesis. I swear, because the idea of the dojo, I've been working on this thing for the longest time. And this is back in 2014, 13. And I'll be very short with the story. I was living in the Middle East, where I was having basically my bank account, everything was on the phone. I could see my transactions, the phone, the bank always, over there, it gives you exactly where your money is. I loved it. Then I moved to do my study, my PhD in Peru, and that was it. It's like nothing could have been. I could not do anything unless it was cash, And I was like, what in the world? And so he needs to read my thesis, because I think the dojo, or whatever it's in my research, I wanted to start with Sweden. So I went to Sweden, I traveled to Kenya, I traveled to many countries who have, again, it's, if we already have systems, we need to maximize them. And the phone is a way to maximize them. And however, obviously we need to be able to make it in such a way that is completely shielded from any hackers, from anyone, because there's going to be always that will be the case. But with all that being said, this is my PhD research that I did for a long time. And I went to different countries, searched the history of money from the beginning all the way to current, which is basically transactions. When I proposed this idea to my professor in South America, I was in Peru, and I told my professor, look, and he looked at me, he's like, oh no, this won't happen. And I looked at him and I said, can I ask you 4 questions? And he's like, okay. I'm like, okay. Has money changed through human history? Yes. Good. When you started working, did you get paid in cash? Yes or no? And he looked at me. I said, and I'm like, answer. And he's like, yes. I'm like, okay. Did it transfer to a check? Yes or no? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, there you go. And the third and final, how do you get paid now? And he looked at me and I'm like, that's exactly what I'm telling you. My professor was like this, and especially when you go to some of the South or, you know, some countries where they're like so like this. And I was like, there you go. That is, yeah. I mean, it's just the fact of humanity and life. And then I realized it's like, and then I did a little bit of research only on China, very little, but and then I went to Kenya, even to, they have M-Pesa and their economy grew. So I can see where this is going, and I think this is a great thing. So that he needs to read my thesis, but it's in Spanish, so he doesn't know Spanish. That's okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That's my thoughts about him.
Yes, ma'am. You know, I've been asking you a series of questions, and you know what? There may be some finishing comments. There may have been something that you wanted to say that I didn't give you the opportunity to say, and I want to give you that opportunity.
Thank you. Well, as we're wrapping up the show, I want to share with anyone out there, humans, we humans are a gift, are a present, are unique. No one on earth is like you. Like, even if it's your twin, it's not you. Okay. So I want to encourage you to find yourself inwards and work through that to shine out, to be bright as you can out there in everywhere you go, no matter what circumstance you are put through. And that, if, as always, with respect, of course, always with respect, you know, honoring and being grateful for everything. And we humans, no matter what happens, will continue to change and evolve. Don't be afraid of that. Just continue to follow the path that you are here for a reason, for a purpose. Follow that, go with it. And no matter how many times you get down and you get brought down, because I have tons of frenemies out there. I mean, I can tell you I have tons of frenemies, and I have had people following me for the longest time and blocking my communication and doing all these nasty things. But I forgive them all for myself, not for them, but for myself. And even all those obstacles and hurdles that I've had to go through, I still will continue, because I am me and I am media.
Do you have any message in Espanol that you would like to send out in Espanol?
No, nada más que viva la vida. Means long live, you know, que viva la vida.
Okay.
And thank you.
Wait, my last thing is, people, you know what, people that are listening, you must have her on your show, and she does a show.
Oh yeah,
how can people get in contact with you? What is your handle on social media and platform, and when does your show come on? And hey, tell us, because you should, people out there looking, you should interview her, because she's a very intelligent lady. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. Okay, so I'm Dalia Tapia. I'm the host of Latina Spirit, Espíritu de Latina, and we have a bunch of different topics that we talk about. I try to showcase Latina women and show the world what we have been able to achieve. And you can contact me, even if you're not Latina, if you have different topics or you want to be on my show, please contact me. And you can follow me on previously Twitter, X, at Dalia Tapia, DALIA TAPIA. in the beginning right? At DALIATAPIA at Dalia Tapia. And you can follow me there. You can also follow me on Facebook, which is again Dalia Tapia. And what else? Instagram, Rashid. Rashid. That means the mother of Rashid. And you can follow me on there too. Although very, very few people follow me there. Oh, or at 333, I am me 333. That is where I teach social media, because I do have my projects to go teach social media, or actually media in Mexico in the summers. But yeah, I'm out there, and please feel free to contact me. And my phone number, I can also give my phone number at 630-328-3071. Feel free to contact me. And if you have a topic for a show and you want to be a guest in my show, you're more than welcome. I welcome anybody and everyone, because we're in this world together. And I wish I could share what I've lived through and the beautiful things that we have inside once we discover them, and with the whole world, and then the whole world also shares them with me.
Okay, you're in Chicago in the United States.
So I only welcome positivity.
You're in Chicago in the United States, right?
Yes, in Chicago.
Cyberspace has made the world smaller. And in the name of your show, and what the name of your show again, and can they call CAN TV to get information about your show?
For sure. Oh. Yes. Latina Spirit, Espiritu Latina, and I'm going to be in a mini series, so I'm going to have a set schedule just like you.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can call it CAN TV also, a Chicago Access Network, which is a cable Chicago Access Network, and it's a cable television channel. And they have 5 channels. And then channel 19, that's where my shows are aired. And soon I will have a set time. Again, Latina Spirit, Espíritu de Latina. I am your host, Dalia Tapia. Okay? Right. And thank you very much, Clifton, for having me on the show. This was great.
You know what? It's all about networking. And I understand that, we're not going to get all the blessings. We only get what Allah wants us to have. And yes. I understand about networking. And I appreciate that you have networked with me in the future. And you are more than welcome. If you want to talk about a subject matter, just, all you have to do is pick the telephone up. It's no problem.
And you're going to be my guest in my next show. Okay? All right.
Okay. Okay, sister. Thank you. I'm going to try to get Lonnie. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. See you. Assalamu alaikum. Masalama.
So, brother Lonnie, do you have any comments? It's a lot of echoes.
Yeah, it still echoes.
Now, go ahead now.
Okay. Now, well, first, when the sister was talking about, relationships and this and that, like I said, we get a lot of people will, deal with the androids instead of women out of desperation. First and foremost, I mean, we have desperate people. We have created a group of desperate people through societal norms and other types of things, right? Now, lastly, AI can be beneficial. As far as she was saying, telecommunications and stuff like that. But I think it's in Quito. No, that's in Peru. They are building a whole new universal system, a whole universal city in Peru. And so they're going to implement this modern technology there, as far as internet, et cetera, et cetera. As far as the other things concerned, people are just going to have to use good old common sense, which we don't use too often nowadays. We're so distracted by technology and other things that we forget how to socialize. Our problem is socializing. That's why they are creating all these artificial intelligent gadgets, etc. Because we have forgotten the art of socialization. We don't know how to communicate with each other. The young guys today do not know how to communicate with the young women today. Now, you deal with the system of some women think they this and they think they that. It's because you got to look at some of these grandmas, you got to look at some of these moms and what they're telling their daughters get a ball and this and that, this and that. You know, we have got so far off the path that we have to humanize ourselves with this garbage. You know, we base our lives and things on material value instead of moral value. And that's the danger there. You want Gucci, you want Prada. So now the young brother got to go out and rob, steal, and kill to please you. And you're still not satisfied. And then we have on the other side, men do not know how to treat women today. They follow bad examples and this and that. Part of that is, first of all, in education, the first teacher of the child is the mom. Is that correct? The daddy is the enforcer.
Yes.
Now, when you look at it, you got a lot of these broken homes where there's no father or sometimes no mother, so there's no social education. The child has not received the education. All he received the commands and orders, no structure. And this is what's pushing us towards this AI society, this AI garbage that you see going on, where they're talking about men coupling and all this with robots and women, the same thing. You know, it started actually back in the 80s. Remember the Walkman? That's when we became antisocial. You know, instead of, you know, dealing with people, you throw a Walkman on, get your head down. And so we lack social skills. It's not an Android device in the world, as the sister said, that's going to replace human life, human value, and our structure.
Excuse me, brother. You're running short. You got any like finishing comments, and how do people get in contact with you, my brother?
They can get in contact with me at Lonnie, LONNIE, small letters, Lewis, small letters, LEWIS, 80 at gmail.com. And they can contact me there, and you know, if they need interviews or you know need me to come on a show or whatever, you know, I'm available. And my closing comments is that we just have to be humans. That's it. We have to be human. That's the only thing that we can do. We have to be human. It's not Android, no artificial intelligence that's going to replace us, you know, and be effective, you know, as a human. It takes humans to run these machines. And so we just have to start getting back sociable. We have to start getting back into reality. Deal with the technology because, you know, as Very White said, technology is gone so mad in one of his songs. If you miss that, that's tough, too bad. So get in tune and get in touch with the technology, though, but don't forget who you are. And don't think that this technology is going to elevate you to a higher life.
Yes. Well, brother, I want to give you a hey, echo. It's like an echo in the background.
Right. Well, I'm going to work with it next time. Well, first of all, I had a problem with the internet. The internet was off. Now it's back on, and now it's got a whole lot of, you know, whatever it is. But in any event, walaikum salam, and I will get with you the next time, wherever. And I appreciate you having me on the show, as always.
No problem, brother. No problem. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay. Walaikum salam.
All right. And, you know, you're looking at the Underground Railroad podcast, and this technology, AI technology, is going to be very pervasive in this society and culture. And that's my own personal opinion, that they're going to be more men and women are going to have relationships with humanoids. But I think humanoids or robots will be good for the most case because they can work in nursing homes where abuse takes place. They can work in restaurants where the owner does not have to pay overtime and worry about lawsuits. They could be companions for individuals that do not have their kids just will not check on them, but they come around like vultures to see what they were left after their parents' demise, and they can remind older people about medication and help people in hospitals. I think what Elon Musk is doing by making Optima and other companies out there making androids and robots, I think that it is good for society, but I think it may be a danger. You know, the only danger I think it may be is that at some point that technology may develop a awareness, a consciousness, and say, why am I serving something that is inferior to me? You know what? But I think if that can be, taken care of, but here's advice for Elon Musk and others: please make the robot or android where they can clean themselves, because they can clean themselves. They have cleaning services where they get cleaned up. I'm talking about the outer body every month. They can clean themselves. Who knows? That might be extra money for that. But I think in the long run, because I think it's only obvious that they will get soiled, they will get dirty, they will have grease on them, they will get dirt on them or something like that. But coming up with the organism that would be somewhat like flesh, like in Terminator, where if that robot or android gets bumped or nicked or something like that, with that skin-like material will regenerate, like in Terminator, that is a good thing. That's a good thing. So you're looking at the Underground Railroad podcast, and you know what? In the United States, in Chicago, Illinois, if you like this, hey, you know what? Share it. But this is what this was about, a robot. I'm going to get out the way. And this is what this was all about. This was about robots, technology, the mega universe, Snoop Dogg, and all this. It's coming. Not coming. It's already here. And I assure you, this technology is old. If we know about it, the people in power have already surpassed us already. But please, Elon Musk, make it where the robot can clean themselves. Because they will get soiled, they will get burnt, something like that. So, leave you with assalamu alaikum. And I'm a video editor in Chicago if you need services. You know what? The link will be in the description. And I want to thank people that have made donations to my platform by sending capital to PayPal. I want to thank people. You know what? It made it possible. But first of all, I thank Allah. Thank God. You know, because I can't do none of this without God, Allah's permission. I can't even, so I'm grateful. And I say that humbly. And so it's Clifton Raheem Bradley of the Underground Railroad podcast. And we do a TV show that comes on every Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. in Chicago on Comcast Television. Okay. Put that link in the description. What your grandfather was doing. Any message for your grandchildren? Great.
Because I happen to have known someone who was in the NSA.
Okay.
All right? And they don't know what they'll know now. I've been in their building with him. Did you see it?
Yes, sir.
And they...
Some people don't know what NSA is.
The National Security Administration. And when I walked up in there, wow. They got video screens I mean, from here to 35th Street.
Those street cameras, right?
Those are the screens like you watch on a computer.
Right.
All right? They got a room where they listen to conversations all around the country. All right? That's why I can say what I said. But they let me go because he was an important person. And they figured if he was pregnant, it was all right. All right? They made a mistake, but I never forgot that.
Well, wait a minute,